Hello, it's me, mongrel trash. Neurodiverse, ADHD, PTSD, straight passing. Not trans or not cis, I'm not telling. Queer baiting, pretty privilege. Privileged vegan, body dysmorphic pansexual, mixed race. Oh, Sunny D! Only has sex on a Wednesday privilege. Canadian privilege, porn addicted, small fats. Queer gating, gas keeping, girl lighting, Gemini. And today, I'm going to be talking about the most chronically online takes that I find on TikTok. I think TikTok is as bad as Tumblr. I got a Tumblr when I was 18 years old, in 2010, just after I graduated high school, and it's predominantly where I learned what feminism was. I also became what 35-year-old red pill dudes like to call an SJW, just because I didn't like oppression. They would then go off to jerk off to my pictures, so... I was also a little bit Tumblr famous because I had about 300,000 followers in all my Tumblrs combined. I had one of the most popular Adventure Time Tumblrs, like, remember the fuck yeah era. And then I got cancelled for not taking eye contact in one of my pictures. So TikTok, like Tumblr, has taught me many things, but they both have many people trying to act holier than thou by being overcorrective in other people's behaviors. I found a definition for chronically online on Urban Dictionary that resonates with what I'm about to talk about today. Chronically online is a term used for an extremely sensitive and selfish individual who has become so engulfed in both cancel culture and the internet that they become completely out of touch with real life. Being chronically online is like saying all lives matter, but that wasn't part of the definition, that's just how I feel. There are many things that I like to do offline that don't necessarily need to have an Instagram story for, like I donate to monthly causes, I call out bigotry whenever I see it, and my Instagram is mostly for a healthy mix of shitposting and mutual aid. I don't make it my personality to call out people who haven't done their daily Stop Asian Hate Instagram story, so yeah. I also know that people make mistakes every single day, including myself, and there are many nuances and contexts that we don't fully understand, and we're going to get so burnt out trying to overcorrect everything. Like, you're a piece of shit for shopping at Amazon. Oh, but wait, you're an ableist for calling somebody a piece of shit for shopping at Amazon. You're just gonna burn yourself out and go into a circle. I know this because when I was a young 18 to 24-year-old on Tumblr, I burnt myself out so much for making... Why did I sound like chills? This 20-year-old burnt themselves out so much by saying twerking is cultural appropriation. Number 12, twerking. I couldn't handle actually putting in the work that I thought I was doing online and applying it to my real life job because that's dumb. So I'm gonna be reading off of a script for the entire time. I want to make sure that I don't miss anything, and I feel like my videos are better when I read from a script instead of going off on a tangent. I know this is already a lot before I start the video, but I just wanted to make it abundantly clear before like alt-right cucks start sending me stuff that they think is chronically online when it's like minor trying to figure out their pronouns and like making fun of it and thinking that I'm on their side. I'm not. Also, I'm not saying online activism is bullshit because a lot of it isn't. I'm just saying that sometimes people start being overcorrective and y'all are fucking annoying. Anyways, enjoy the video. In the words of Comrade Clementine Morgan, fuck the police means we don't act like cops to each other. So let's begin. Okay, so first TikTok that we're gonna look at is from this TikToker named Mark. Mark usually makes content doing skits and all of that. He also underwent a drastic weight loss recently, losing upwards to 120 pounds. I want to show the whole TikTok to provide context, and then we'll talk about it right after.
I'm so sorry, but some of y'all have lost your minds. Let's have a little chat.
I'm trying my absolute hardest to remain civil, you guys.
Personal
Okay.
health advancements. And this is why people who go on massive weight loss journeys, I cannot follow them at all. Mark has a huge platform, and this is his spam account, and it has a ton of followers, and he lost 120 pounds in less than a year. And people who are formerly fat and are now thin will go out of their way to talk about their weight loss journey as a personal health advancement,
because it was for me.
Won't say anything on their huge platforms about the dangers of fat phobia in society.
Fact check, I actually do. And if anything, losing weight has exposed fat phobia to me. I've seen people's true colors. I've seen the differences in the ways people treat me depending on my weight. I'm fully aware of it, and I've closed myself off a lot because of it. Let's continue.
Also, if it's a personal health journey, make it about how you feel good in your body and not about like how you look in clothes and all about body image, because that in itself is
you
just
want me to be
fat phobia.
naked the whole time?
It is ridiculous to see the people who are no longer fat, how far they will go to remove themselves from their former fatness.
Y'all, I have no words. I wanted to be as candid as possible with my weight loss journey, and I feel like I have been. But when folks are making these types of videos about me, it bothers me. This is something I've worked hard for. It is a personal, as I've reiterated 1,000 times, personal health journey for me. And it has been recommended for me to do for my health. I don't know why you're overstepping your boundary in terms of my health, because it's absolutely insane. And if I wasn't making weight loss update videos and stuff, people would be assuming things about me that I don't want. So it is imperative for me to make it clear that I am losing weight healthily, because I have been, without folks like this individual who keep on trying, who are simply miserable. Go outside, touch grass. This is out of control, sir.
Okay, let me say this off the bat. Fat phobia is real, and it sucks. Wow. Controversial. Wow. Mark did this on his spam account, which is different from his main account where he predominantly makes skits and stuff. Usually people will follow a spam account so that they can see extra content from their favorite creator. If something that they make triggers you, don't watch it anymore. People can do literally whatever the fuck they want with their body, including changing their weight, including getting plastic surgery, including gaining weight if they want to do that. Health is different for everyone, and Mark losing weight was for his own health according to him. That's what he wanted to do. He specifically wanted to lose weight. A stranger on the internet does not have the authority over what they think is healthy for Mark or not. You're not his doctor. Yeah, he could be lying and saying that he's losing weight in a healthy way, and he could actually be doing it in an unhealthy way, but who cares? Like, if we're gonna do that for everyone, make it make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense. You're a stranger on the internet. If he says that he wanted to do this because he feels better, then why are you making him into a bad guy? If Mark's health journey is something that he makes many TikToks about on his separate spam account, and weight loss is a trigger for you to see, that's you purposely triggering yourself and making it the, like, content creator's responsibility for your own self. This is like the people getting mad at Lizzo all over again, but with different microaggressions, because Lizzo's black and Mark is not. But, it's the same sort of flavor, right? Anyways, I shared this post on my stories, and many people were DMing me saying that they could relate to it, which made me feel kind of sad, and like also like, oh, this is why I felt like I was right the entire time whenever somebody called me out for doing something like, I'm at the gym. Now I'm going to talk about why this specific TikTok resonates with me so much, and what this person who is very chronically online replied to Mark about. I'm someone who is fat, but I also like to move my body, and fat people are under a microscope a lot. You don't need a microscope, honey. I'm right here. I'm someone who deals with some pretty apparent body dysmorphia. I genuinely didn't know and realize that I dealt with it on this much of a scale until 2021 or 2020. I always thought I was plus sized, even when I was obviously not. I wasn't plus sized to society or to my friends only to my family members, which is where my body dysmorphia stemmed from. I genuinely thought I was fat, and you could see it in the hashtags on my Tumblr back in the day where I would be like, society is really mean to fat people like myself. I wish I could wear a crop top without being like ostracized, when I wasn't a part of the fat community. I just thought that I was. Sure, I wasn't skinny either, but I could never understand the hardships and the privilege I had as someone who had never really dealt with fat phobia before. Until this year, when I'm actually plus size and I actually have to shop in the plus size section of stores, and I realize, yes, people treat you very differently. Fat phobia is a thing that is very real and very terrible. If I was this size that I am right now and I felt completely normal, I would be completely fine, because I think that I personally look sexy, spicy, hot, and nice. People pay to. But the reality is, I can't do certain things that I used to. During the pandemic, I found myself binging a lot. I didn't gain weight in a healthy and positive way. I gained weight in a pretty negative and detrimental way. I gained weight because of mental illness. And I know this might hurt some folks' feelings because they've DM'd me about it, and I never reply because I don't know what to say, but I want to lose weight. If you're a stranger, don't comment on my body. And this goes for everyone. Like, don't comment on anyone's body if you're a stranger, especially that person that's chronically online and commenting on Mark's body. They shouldn't have done that. Like, they shouldn't talk about that. That's such a, like, weird personal thing. Oh, and this also goes for people commenting on how much weight I've gained. I know I gained weight. Don't give me weight loss advice either. Like, you're not my doctor. I'm not trying to lose weight because of you. I'm doing it for me. Fat phobia is definitely a thing that we need to talk about and work on deconstructing, but it doesn't begin with harassing former fat people. Sure, some of them are harmful, like, hey, join my pyramid scheme because look how disgusting and fat and gross, smelly slob I used to be. Like, that kind of thing is harmful. But in this context, I'm not talking about those class traitors. In order to demolish fat phobia, we need to make everything more accessible. In our language, in our jobs, in the media, in the programs we create, in the way we talk about how we used to look and how we look now. Diminishing fat phobia isn't telling individual people who lost weight that they're doing something bad. These former fat people know very well what fat phobia is, and they deal with it every day. We need to talk about fat phobia to people who have the privilege of not knowing what it is. So that's the end of that one. Here's the next chronically online take that I've seen on TikTok. So I saw this video pop up on my FYP because there is a section of boys that I love to watch on YouTube. You've got your Kurtis Conners, Jarvis Johnsons, Danny's Gonzalez's, Drew Gooden, Nick Green.
Hey, parasocial relationships are unhealthy. I don't give a pair of fuck. This is my best friend.
I liked the TikTok, and then I went to the comments and saw this. Somebody was like, yeah, I love these boys. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, I also love these boys. Person said, not Nick. And then I was like, uh-oh. Uh-oh, why not? What did he do? Shit. I like to watch Nick. I wonder what he did. And then I go on to see that OP says Nick is racist. People asked for context, and then OP said that Nick used Ave and blocked black people when being called out. And then I was like, oh, that sounds not that great. That doesn't sound very good. I'm sure he apologized or something, or maybe like he didn't realize that he used Ave or whatever, you know, typical like being like, oh, I want to see like where he said that and what the situation is. And then when asked for receipts, OP says that she can't find them because her account was suspended, so everything was deleted. Oh, I find it very convenient how she baits people by saying, he's racist. You want context? Well, he did this. Really bad, right? It's very bad. And then you're, as a TikTok user, is just like, oh, that sucks. That sounds kind of shitty. Where's the receipts? And then she's like, oh, man. The funny thing is, there's like completely zero evidence online. Like zero evidence. And then somebody else says, but didn't he go on later on Twitch with black creators to have an open discussion about the topic? She goes on to say, bro, he's literally racist. He only listened to those black creators who agreed with him and completely dismissed the feelings of the one who disagreed with him. And then I'm like, oh, where is this, like, thread? Like, if somebody else is saying, like, that they thought that they saw this happen, then maybe he did do that. But, like, again, where's this thread? And also, discounting a black person who agrees with Nick, she's pretty much saying these black people that he's friends with and who discuss things on his platform with, their opinions don't actually matter, unlike me, a white woman. When I commented this, here's the thread of things that I said. I think that I was being quite reasonable. She responded with blah, 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 yada, yada, no one's trying to cancel him. Yet she's literally telling people not Nick when they say he's among the other people that people like to watch. I'd call that attempting to cancel. I was going to respond further, but then I was blocked. Wow. A white person silencing people of color, yet again. I've never seen that ever happen before in my life of being a person of color. That's so weird. When I did my own research, I found nothing. I also emailed Nick's manager to see if he could weigh in on the situation, and will make an update if they ever respond. Surprise, he does respond. I find some liberal white people to seem to have this trend, and the reason why I'm saying some is because some of y'all get real triggered when I say white people in general. I can say anything I want about white people. I'm literally white people. I'm mixed. But I find some liberal white people seem to have this trend on picking on non-black people of color if they make a bit of a mistake. This trend seems to me a lot like white guilt under the guise of using their white privilege. Using your white privilege is something that white folks absolutely need to be doing. It's something all of us need to be doing when we're not a part of a marginalized community, is using our privilege to call out bigotry when it does happen. What using your white privilege is not, is accusing a person of color for using AVE and not being able to back it up with evidence. This just makes you look racist. I have not seen any black person talk about this specific issue. When other YouTubers do messed up stuff in different communities, I've seen those people in those communities call it out. And also other people who aren't a part of those communities using their privilege to call it out as well. I have not seen a black person make a comment on whether or not Nick has used AVE and then blocked black folks when called out. In fact, he continues to have his friends who are black create content with him. I find it weird that she's going so hard for white YouTubers who have done problematic things in the past, including Dean, this screenshot right here, who's done some stuff, but she answers with this. I'm sure if Nick did do something like this, he would have addressed it and apologized for it, or like had a discussion about it. Now let's specifically talk about AVE, African American Vernacular English. I have a resource list in the bio down below. Me, as a non-black person of color, do not have the authority on talking about what isn't offensive regarding African American Vernacular English, especially being a mixed Asian person. I find a lot of Asian people like to hijack AVE, but that's a whole different conversation. I'm sure this person has used AVE before, and I'm sure all her little white friends have used AVE before. I've used AVE before. And also I could say this, Kurtis Conner, the guy who she's saying she has a parasocial relationship with in this TikTok, has probably used AVE before. If I use a word that my friend who is in that group of marginalized people say that I shouldn't use, I stop. But if he did use AVE, knowing he makes a ton of leftist content, I'm sure he would have talked about it. If he blocked someone for calling him out, which we literally have no way of proving. Maybe that person started harassing him and in turn he blocked them. But again, we have literally no way of knowing this because this doesn't exist on the internet. And actually, yeah, I do want to believe a random white woman on the internet who has probably never, for sure, 100% never used the word dead ass in her life. So let's address the elephant in the room. I'm not black. OP isn't black, she's white, and Nick isn't black. This person puts herself as a spokesperson on an issue non-black people shouldn't be spreading and calling Nick an outright racist. Calling someone racist is not something to be taken lightly. We all participate in microaggressions. In order for us to change things, we must actively be learning how to be anti-racist. In my opinion, as a person of color who's very critical of overcorrective white folks, especially when those overcorrective white folks are criticizing other leftist creators, especially, weirdly enough, creators of color, it's giving me white knight energy. Because she puts herself in the position of a spokesperson on this issue, it shows to me that she doesn't have very many black friends.
Hey, I'm just gonna do fun little voiceover so this section is a bit more cohesive. Although some of my friends don't agree on certain topics, many of them wouldn't care if someone like me or somebody else, for example, like YouTubers, use something from Ave because there's bigger fish to fry. I'm not saying that they shouldn't care, because they do when the context is like right and stuff. But many of my friends aren't just black. Most, if not all of them, I think I know one cis guy, are members of the LGBTQ and wouldn't care if a YouTuber used Ave a couple of times. This behavior OP is showing is it seems to me like she hasn't interacted with many black folks. And to add, some of my friends do care if YouTubers, or me for an example, use Ave. If you're not black, you don't have authority over whether or not something is and isn't racist. If Nick did use Ave and black people were mad at him about it, I'm sure I would have found that on Twitter. But I didn't, and there's an update, so keep watching the video.
With that being said, if one of my black friends, many of them I interact with multiple times a day, says that there's something that hurts them with the way I speak, I change it. Also keep in mind, my black friends are all completely different people who don't agree on certain topics. It's the same with everyone. It's the same with me. I'm sure a lot of mixed race Asian people don't agree with what I'm saying, but there are some things that they universally agree on. One, that racial slurs are terrible and bad and should not be used in your vocabulary. And two, cancel culture fucking sucks. Because she wouldn't act like this over something that other white people have also parroted to each other that is bad. I could be wrong though, maybe she does have black friends. People can also watch content, YouTubers in this example, and notice if they say something wrong and do not agree with it, yet still enjoy their content. I can watch Emmy Made in Japan and enjoy her content, but not agree that she's not vegan. If some white TikToker tells me to stop watching Nick is Not Green because he's racist and then doesn't have the proof to back it up, I'm not gonna believe her. I'm going to continue watching his content. Since no one in this situation is black, and I don't want to bother my friends with this issue because it's so readily available on the internet, I'm going to provide 2 TikToks from black creators talking about language and how white allies call other people out. In this context, though, they are specifically talking about Caroline, I forget her last name, and her song and how she said the N-word a few years ago. So here are those 2 TikToks.
Hi, my name is Pablo, and I think y'all are doing entirely too much about Caroline Polachek's whole situation. So for those of you who don't know, So Hot You're Hurting My Feelings is currently going viral, and it has its own dance, but some white person brought up the fact that back in 2018, Caroline did say the N-word on her Instagram story when quoting some Kanye lyrics, which is absolutely inappropriate, and she was 33 at the time. And while I'm not defending her in any way, because saying the N-word will always be egregious, not only did she apologize, she was actually held accountable by someone she was in community with, which is Kalela, who dog-walked her both on Instagram and privately. Also, Caroline has not replicated this behavior since that, and I think she might have actually learned, but we will never know. She will always have to be someone who is on the watch list, but her having a 15-second little TikTok dance, who cares? And what I'm noticing is that it's a lot of white people bringing this up, but y'all are the same people, like black people always say, that will not check your racist grandparents at Thanksgiving dinner. It's really giving performative, babes.
But I do want to focus this video on Caroline Polachek, because in my 2022 predictions video, there were a few comments that said that Caroline was racist. And this was not just on my video, apparently there's a mass cancellation of Caroline for something that she did 3 years ago. But unlike a lot of artists who have done countless problematic things, Caroline actually apologized and acknowledged what she did wrong. And while yes, what Caroline did was stupid and insensitive, especially coming from a grown woman who should know right from wrong when you are 33 years old, and yes, Caroline was rightfully called out for what she did, but in comparison to other artists, especially other artists whose songs blown up several times on this app, Caroline's typed up N-word lyric situation is on the lower spectrum of the problematic scale, in my opinion. In addition, it is on the lower spectrum of the racist spectrum as well, in my opinion. Now, if you are a black person and you felt like this was racist, or if you felt offended by it, you have every right to feel that way. But if you are a non-black person, you honestly have no say into what is racist or not. That's just how I feel. You may feel differently, and that's okay. Don't shoot the messenger. But my question is, when you cancel or call out an artist, what is your purpose? What is the outcome? Who are you actually fighting for? And did you do any research on the situation? Do you really care what Caroline said was racist? Or do you just not like the song by her that's blowing up on TikTok? When you are canceling someone that recognized their mistake, apologized for it, and never did it again, why are you still attacking them? Bringing up the fact that they sound like Haim and that they are an industry plant. And in reality, she has been in the industry for as long as most of the people on this app were born. Because at this point, with all this other extra nonsense you are bringing up, it makes me wonder, are you really canceling them to serve a purpose? Or are you just hating and slandering them for their success? It's giving performative and it's giving projection. Because I am sure you or someone that you know, whether it's a friend or family, has said or typed up the N-word at least once. It's okay to not like a song or an artist. Do some research and touch some grass before you weaponize racism out of spite. That is all.
Oh shit. I just got an email. Here's the full context of the Nick is Not Green situation and what actually happened. I got a bunch of Twitter links with this situation. So Kurtis Conner tweeted out that he had Nick is Not Green on his podcast. Very, really good. It's a very, really good podcast. A Kurtis stan says, guys, Kurtis probably recorded this before Nick got canceled. And then she goes on to say, hey, Nick, since you are seeing this, just apologize. I believe you are a good person and just educate yourself on Ave. You made an insensitive tweet. Please educate yourself. And here is the footnotes of what happened. So Kurtis made a tweet using the word bussin'. He then was told that that tweet was using Ave and deleted it. He didn't say anything about it. He just deleted it. But before Kurtis deleted the tweet, Nick retweeted it, making fun of Kurtis. The tweet Nick retweeted making fun of Kurtis was then deleted because Kurtis deleted the tweet. And then people started catching on. The people who were catching on were stan accounts of Kurtis Conner, and they were all white. Then Nick said that he didn't know about the Ave thing and that he was going to pretend Kurtis deleted it because Nick roasted him. Then 2 specific white stan accounts accused Nick of silencing black voices and demanded accountability. I'm going to assume the 20-year-old in this same Kurtis stan account is the person that made that parasocial TikTok. I also want to say that I was correct about Kurtis using Ave. Also, here's 2 black women talking about what they think about Kurtis using the word bussin'. And then if you look at this thread, it's mostly black people saying they don't care if he's using that word bussin'. I would also love to say this because I just love it when this happens because it usually happens. Nick never used Ave in this situation. Kurtis did. I repeat, Nick never used Ave in this situation. Austin Green, who is Nick's brother, said, "Hi, immediately following Nick speaking up for people impacted by the Ave situation, he sat down for 2 hours and platformed women of color and heard their perspective. We continued to champion these issues over the past few days and would love to get your perspective as a person of color." And he's talking to this one Kurtis Stan account who is not a person of color. She is white. Okay, so Nick then went on to talk to black women while talking to them on stream. The black women didn't seem to think there was an issue, but there was one Kurtis Stan account who called out Nick for being insensitive, was still arguing, and said those black people didn't represent the entire community, to which Nick replied that they were minimizing black voices. What did I say? It basically ended with Nick saying the Stan account could go watch the stream, but that they should put their energy towards bigger issues like fighting for black rights and against police brutality. And then this person's like, I don't know if I mentioned and clarified that the Stan account was a white person. But then the Stan account went to accuse Nick of silencing black voices, to which Nick responded again that he was talking to actual black people on stream that they were disregarding. Back and forth continued, and Nick blocked them. And then one person was like, "Hi, I was one of the black people on the stream. It's blown out of proportion." The white saviors thought they knew more about Ave than black people. Weird. Okay, so when I went back on to TikTok with a different account, I went to provide these links to the thread because some people were like, "Oh shit, now I shouldn't watch Nick," and blah, blah, blah. And I just wanted them to know the entire context. And also this one person was like, "I knew Nick was disgusting." How did you know? Is it because he's a person of color? Anyways, and then I went back and provided the links, and she promptly blocked that account. Then I went on to a separate burner account and went back to look, and she had deleted the entire thread. She deleted the whole thread. This means that she doesn't actually care about non-black people using Ave and defending them. She just cares about making herself look more superior. Like, she deleted the entire thread with her typing the words "Nick is racist" specifically because he used Ave, and then blocked black folks, when the only person that Nick blocked was her and the other weird Stan account, and they're both white. He was literally blocking white people who thought they knew more about Ave, which is a situation that they definitely don't know more about. Like, the person who used Ave in this contest was literally the guy that she's standing. And also I could say this, Kurtis Conner, the guy who she's saying she has a parasocial relationship with in this TikTok, has probably used Ave before. I find it really fucking weird that they couldn't care less about when their favorite white content creators use Ave, and then they go ahead and spread this weird misinformation about people of color who literally went on to have a discussion about it. Like, what I noticed in this thread was that people were calling Nick out, but they were not black people. They were all predominantly white folks, and most of them were minors, and all of them were Stan accounts for white creators. One of the black people that commented said that they were disappointed in Nick for using Ave, but he never did. She just assumed that he did because all these white stans were saying that he needs to apologize for using Ave. This is not this person's fault. The tweet was deleted where Kurtis used Ave, and the stan culture being so shitty and spreading misinformation is at fault. Kurtis deleted the tweet because it had Ave, but he didn't say anything about it. He deleted the apology because black people in the thread were telling him to delete his apology and put the tweet back up. But when a person of color retweeted that tweet, they had to go an entire extra mile, do a 2-hour discussion with black creators, and still have freaks on the internet label him as racist. Like, literally all the people saying Nick is wrong are stan accounts for white men. That should tell you that much. These dudes have said some weird shit in the past, specifically about some of the minority groups that I'm a part of, but they've apologized and they've never repeated the behavior. Like, Nick didn't even use Ave, and they had a discussion about performative activism, what they actually care about, and the Ave situation. Like, I find it weird that people in marginalized groups have to go an extra hoop to avoid cancel culture, and these white dudes, all they have to do is delete a tweet or say sorry once. God, these stands are so weird, and I really hope that they grow up. Like, I saw this one TikTok because it showed up in my FYP of that one popular song that was going around a few months ago. The one where it's like, if I die tonight, I'm only pretty. That song. And they were doing this and stuff and like all dramatic and stuff. And I did one of those like nose exhale things, like, because I've definitely seen that in my FYP unironically, although the people were like mid-20s and it's very cringy and it's really funny. So that's why I like did a little exhale on my nose. I liked the TikTok, and then I went to the comments because like you always gotta look at the like TikTok comments. There's endless comments about accusing this person of being misogynistic, even though OP didn't ever mention gender at all. People are jumping on this person and saying they're a full-grown adult when I've seen enough comments to say that they're probably also a minor. The only reason why I'm showing this TikTok, even though I'm assuming this person's a minor, is because the chronically online that is happening isn't the TikTok itself, it's in the comments. When I saw this comment accusing this person of being racist, I was super taken aback. I would like this person who made this comment to hand in a 5-page essay due by the end of the week, please. I did see a comment when I first saw this video that was probably deleted into oblivion that inspired me to do this whole video topic anyways, because when I saw this comment, I was just like, this has to be satire. But I went into the like replies and stuff, and they seemed genuinely serious. At least they made it seem like they were. And I was like, wow, this has got to be like something only people who live online say. Someone said that this person was being ableist because people on the autism spectrum do these things and head movements as stimming, or neurodiverse folks do this to cope. I just wanted to say that I'm not autistic, but I will speak on this comment because I am neurodiverse. This TikToker was obviously making fun of people lip syncing by doing dramatic movements. They weren't talking about stimming. They were not talking about neurodiverse people in this TikTok at all. Like, if a neurotypical person saw this TikTok, they probably wouldn't be like, haha, yes, finally someone is making fun of those damn mentally ill people. I love this content. I am gonna address this comment though. Of course we'd jump on it if a dude made a TikTok like this. He would definitely specify it was a girl too. And a fully grown like 35-year-old or even an adult man in that matter, when they talk about 14-year-old girls and make fun of 14-year-old girls on TikTok or the internet in general, it's hella cringy, super creepy, and weird. Of course we would jump on them. Because they have power systematically over 14-year-old girls, and the rest of their fucking weird, crusty, dusty, musty-ass friends would probably be like, yeah, Jimothy, fuck yeah, get those, like, little minors. This person who made this TikTok is also what I'm assuming is a minor, and they're feminine presenting. It's like they don't have the power over 14-year-olds doing this, like, silly little joke online. That's all. Alright, so those are the only 3 that I'm going to talk about in this video today because I went pretty in-depth on the Nick is not green one because I got an update and I was just like, oh yes. But I think I need a 2-week break off of TikTok for subjecting myself to that brain rot. I hope you enjoyed this video because I really enjoyed it and now I'm losing my voice. Like, I get a thrill off of being correct all the time. Maybe it's the Gemini in me, like, you know? I'm going to be making this into a series because I continue to find things that, in my personal opinion, fit the chronically online description that I just need to talk about because I love running my mouth. It's one of my favorite things. If you do see anything else like this on TikTok, please send me a DM over on Instagram with the video. I would love to check it out. But just a little bit of a disclaimer. I don't do videos on minors. I think that's super weird. Just let them be kids and make cringy content to themselves. They don't need a 30-year-old person on fucking YouTube talking about how I think they're super cringy. Like, that doesn't need to happen. But definitely send me some goodies on Instagram. If you're a part of a community that I talked about in this video and you think that I have a bad take, please let me know. Let's talk about it. I would like to address it in the next chronically online video that I do, because I am a person who is part of a lot of marginalized communities, but I am also not part of like every fucking community. Like, I still have a lot to learn and I'm learning something new every day. So if you think I had a bad take, let me know. I can assure you I didn't do anything in like malice. Also, in the next video, I am potentially going to be talking about these things. Awesome. Okay, bye.